Now, Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on an Ash Wednesday. Hope yours is going great. Casey Gaines and Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. Plenty to get to over the next 2 hours. Hopefully you've gotten all the Mardi Gras out of your system. Back to the grind today. Just about everybody. I guess schools are still not quite locked and loaded, but we are here and fired up to be with you for the next couple of hours. LSU and Vanderbilt tonight from the PMAC. Get your preview of that. Chris Demouy going to talk some baseball in hour number 2. We'll have him each and every Wednesday moving forward. I got my SEC basketball picks from last night to get to. It's a What If Wednesday. That is at 1:30. But we will start with LSU and Southern from yesterday at the box. Tigers get behind 4-0 and win 18-4. Not often you see 18 unanswered in a baseball game, but we did yesterday. Tigers mercy rule Southern through 7 innings. Yeah, I think the most headline-catching topic is Trey Morgan's cycle. That's great. He hit the ball well. That's excellent. But the biggest development from yesterday was going to be the start and debut of Thatcher Hurd for LSU. And the big right-hander went out there and really did not have his command early in the game. I'm sitting here doing the show, and I'm watching on my laptop sitting here in front of me, and he's just not throwing strikes. Big misses. Way down and away, up. He just did not have command early, was walking guys, but was able to get out of a little trouble in the first inning with a couple of quality breaking balls, one for a called strike, one for a swing and strike 3. And that shows the stuff. I mean, the fastball was up to 97 yesterday, was sitting around 94 for most of the outing, which is where you'd expect to see him, and there was some bite to the breaking ball. However, he had trouble putting guys away. He got 2 strikes on 3 different guys in the second inning, and all 3 guys singled. Now, 2 of them weren't hit very hard at all, but he wasn't able to get the swing and miss that he was looking for, either with the high fastball or the breaking ball. Got too much of the play opponent. You'd like him to go out there and dominate that team, and Thatcher Hurd did not do that yesterday, but did show some flashes of what he wants to be. After the game, Jay did say that he did something he normally doesn't do, and he gave the opponent 2 days in advance to get ready for a starting pitcher. He doesn't like to release his starting pitcher until he has the other team's starting pitcher. And I understand his line of thinking there. I really do. You understand it's a scouting game. You go from having to scout really an entire staff to one guy you figure is going to start the game, and you can narrow your focus and go a little bit deeper into that starting pitcher. Okay. Yeah, maybe in a regional on a Sunday when some teams are depleted and you're not sure who's going to come out there to give a team 20 hours of notice instead of 90 minutes, maybe you can understand that being a small advantage to the other team. In this situation, you've got a potential eventual first-round draft pick facing Southern. He ought to go out there and handle his business. I can't get behind the fact that Southern just had more time to prepare and were just ready. They flipped a few balls into the outfield, hit 2 or 3 balls hard, and drew some walks. I think Hurd just didn't throw the ball great. That is my analysis of the game. The command wasn't great, and his put away stuff wasn't great. And Jay said, look, this is the most people he's ever pitched in front of. Go out there to UCLA, there's nobody there. You can kind of cut it loose. You go out there at the box. There was a great crowd yesterday, probably 80% full because of the holiday and kids out of school and a lot of people not working. You go out there on a warm February day and watch the baseball. It's a good crowd. And Thatcher Hurd just didn't respond great. But that doesn't mean he can't go out there either this weekend in a relief spot or maybe against Texas a week from yesterday and throw it awesome. That's what we expect to see from Thatcher Hurd as he responds to this injury and getting back on the mound. Maybe a little rusty yesterday, maybe a little nervous. Either way, not his best outing, and that was the biggest thing I took away from the game yesterday. I did think, on the flip side of all that, they tabbed Christian Little to go in there and take the ball in a bases-loaded, nobody-out situation, and I thought he was phenomenal for the second outing of the season. 3 2/3, only allowed the one hit, the first guy who grounded one through the right side. Then he struck out 6 of the 11 outs he recorded. Slider was nasty. Fastball velocity and command were good. He has really asserted himself in his first 2 outings as a guy that LSU can absolutely count on in high leverage spots. Sure, he could fit into a weekend rotation spot. Sure, he could fit into a closer spot. Sure, he can fit into exactly what you saw yesterday when LSU falls behind 4-0. He's in the ball game. He throws up 3 bagels, and LSU erupts and scores. How many runs did they score? 13 runs while he was out there. Now, they're not going to score 13 runs over 3 innings very often, but the point remains, maybe your starter doesn't have it. You go to Christian Little, and he can eat up some innings. That's a spot I think Grant Taylor could have thrived in. I certainly think Christian Little could as well. The stuff has never been an issue for Christian Little, and it's been really, really good through 2 outings. So that was a really big plus on the pitching side. How about defense? The big number that you'll look at is no errors in the game yesterday, and they hadn't made any errors in 4 games thus far. But I'm talking about individual efforts. Brady Neal threw 2 runners out at second base. One was on a straight steal. He made a nice throw down. Dugas picked it out, but it was okay. And then the other was a great play where he blocks up a ball that's down in the dirt, takes the mask off, identifies the runner, and pegs him down to second base on a really strong throw. So we know that Neal is the better of the offensive catchers, and he's playing good defense to this point. And I thought made 2 really good throws in the game yesterday that were impressive. Then we'll get to the offense. Jared Jones hit it a mile. About 467 off the bat of the freshman. If you haven't seen the highlight, it was 3/4 of the way up the scoreboard. I mean, he got on his back leg and just elevated this thing, and that's the kind of pop that he's got. What's the line I used on Monday? Opening weekend, early season games, they don't tell me what you can't do. They tell me what you can do. If you're 0 for 8 this point in the season, that doesn't mean you can't hit. But if you can drive a baseball 3/4 of the way up the scoreboard 467 feet, that tells me you can do that. And that was really impressive to see. He's been the DH in all 4 games thus far. That shows what they think of him. Because of the amount of depth on this team, you could get a different DH out there almost every day. They're saying, no, Jones has to get at bats. And that's kind of what I was told. And if you listen to me in Musso's preview video, if you heard me on this show as we were leading up to the season opener and talking about some guys, like one of the guys I talked about was Jared Jones. And I asked someone in the program, I said, are y'all going to have to get him some at-bats because Niels and Milazzo are probably going to be the catchers. I don't really know. You're not going to move Morgan. Can you get him some at-bats? And the answer I got was we have to. Have to get him at-bats. And this has been the result. Some real authority. I loved over the weekend. He turned on a 3-2 pitch and ripped it down the left field line for a double. Pumped one into the gap, right center field for a different double, a totally different swing. And this was just a big-time mistake out of the middle of the plate, and he hit it as far as just about anybody on this team can hit it. So that was really impressive from Jared Jones yesterday. I loved Braden Jobert standing in on a left-handed pitcher. Not a great one. I understand the level of competition that you saw yesterday, and that's why he scored 18 runs in 6 innings. But it was left on left, and what's the tendency for the left-handed hitter against the left-handed pitcher, which is why it's an advantage for the pitcher, because that ball's coming from your side, and if you open your shoulders up, that breaking ball can get to the outside, and you can't cover it. The way you combat that is you keep your front shoulder in and drive the ball the other way, and that's what Jobert did. He hit a left-on-left home run to left field. I loved that swing from Jobert, who, as Jay Johnson said last year, gave us 18 home runs, and those at-bats were really impactful. And he hit 3 home runs in Gainesville and 3 home runs in Nashville and was huge in those series. But the at-bats outside of those home runs weren't good enough. And part of that's going to be hitting the ball the other way. He got pull happy with the home run ball last year. He can hit it the other way some, but didn't do it as much. That was really encouraging yesterday to hit the ball the opposite way off a left-handed pitcher for Braden Jobert. If he wants to be out there every day, he's going to have to hit left-handed pitching, and that was a nice swing that he put on the ball yesterday. Last thing was Trey Morgan. And the cycle's great. It's a cool thing to see for the baseball fan. And he did it in order, which was cool. And that's all well and good. One thing that I did take from Trey Morgan's day, though, was the quote he gave after the game talking about the home run. Obviously, you've got a massive lead at that point. You're going to run rule this team. The result of that bat is essentially irrelevant unless you hit a home run. So he said for the second time in his LSU career, he went up trying to hit a home run. And he did it. And if you watch the swing, he's got a little uppercut to it. There's a little bit of power to it. And he drives the ball out of the ballpark. This is a phenomenal opposite field hitter, a great contact hitter, gap to gap, largely singles hitter. But his professional future is going to be impacted a great deal by how much power he develops. And I'm not saying I want Trey Morgan to go up there routinely trying to hit a home run, but I do think it's okay to have that in your mind that you're capable of it, and in the right spot, usually when not trying to hit a cycle, usually because of the spot in the game, there may be time to try, if you get up 2-0 or 3-1, to take a hack at it. Try to lift the baseball. He's a big, strong junior now. Not some freshman trying to find his way, slapping balls the other way. There's always, in my opinion, going to be a spot for a hitter with 2 strikes to make sure you get the bat on ball, see it the other way, let it travel, move the baseball, all those kind of cliches that we use that are effective in the game. But there's also some time to take a swing at it. Not every time, but every once in a while, especially if you're ahead in the count. And Morgan didn't care if he was ahead in the count in this situation just because he's trying to hit the home run for the cycle and you're going to win the game anyway. But he got a mistake pitch, and he took it over the wall, and I think that's great. I would love to see a little more pop in the bat for Trey Morgan. That's a question I've asked a lot over the last 3 weeks is, how much more can Trey Morgan run this year because he's not hurt, and how much more power are we going to see develop now that he's in his 3rd year here in the college program? So great to see Trey Morgan hit for the cycle, but I was a little bit more impressed with, hey, let's try to drive one out of the yard, and he was able to stand in there and do it. LSU collected 13 hits yesterday, scored 18 runs after a bumpy start from Thatcher Hurd where he got 4 earned runs and walked 3 guys. The rest of the guys came in over the last 4 1/3. Let's see now. 3, 4, 4 1/3. Weird. Oh, I get it. Okay, I'm reading the box score, and it was scrambling my brain a little bit. But the relievers that came in for Hurd only allowed 2 hits and struck out 8. Did not allow a run. So impressive stuff for LSU after a really poor start to the game where you fall behind 4-0. Tigers back in action on Friday at 2 o'clock over in Round Rock. All right, last night, some big-time SEC hoops action, plus I gave you some picks. They've been pretty hot. We'll see how they went. That's coming up next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on select new 2022 Ford F-150 trucks. $10,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside off the bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls Bands and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne, plus two-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
Women who suffer from cardiac arrest outside of a hospital are less likely than men to receive life-saving CPR from bystanders. This is especially true for Black and Latino women. Be the one in your family to help change this statistic by taking the American Heart Association's challenge to learn CPR. Be the beat for someone you love. You can make a difference when it matters most. Go to heart.org today to take the CPR challenge and save lives.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
It's Musso. Join us for Wednesday's AFR presented by Pluckers. The baseball Tigers are off to Round Rock. We'll hear from Jay Johnson. Basketball Tigers try to snap their losing streak. They welcome in Vanderbilt. It's Wednesday's AFR 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Video has been released of the Alvin Kamara incident in Vegas, plus Pelicans on the hardwood tonight. We'll get with David Grubb coming up at 2 o'clock to chat about those two things. Chris Demouy in hour number 2 as well at 2:30 talking baseball. SEC basketball, some really, really important games last night, so I want to break those down. But as we've kind of started to do here in the midweeks, I throw some gambling picks at the wall. There was a whole crew out there that was saying, hey, we got to fade Hunt because he can't pick games. He's awful at it. And I'm just telling you, things are starting to turn. I'm starting to get some hits. Big game. Yesterday, College Station sold out Reed Arena. Tennessee and Texas A&M. What was the pick? Give me Texas A&M. I'll lay the points. I think they handle Tennessee with relative ease in this game. I think they win it by 8 to 10 points. I'll take Texas A&M and lay the 2.5. Texas A&M laying the 2.5. Pay the man. They win by 5, 68-63, the final score. Every time I watch Texas A&M play, usually pull against them, but I'm always impressed at their ability to make winning plays. Sometimes it's a big three. Sometimes it's a block shot. Sometimes it's just a tough physical drive where they finish at the rim. They just seem to always make that play. And last night, they're in a really tight game, under a minute to go, under 30 seconds to go. And A&M's trying to inbound the ball with a 1-point lead. They get it inbounds. Tennessee traps, does a really good job, and A&M turns the ball over. Santiago Vescovi gets the steal. So now Tennessee's got the ball under 30 seconds to go, down 1 with a chance to win it. And immediately, when Vescovi steals the ball, Wade Taylor goes over there and picks his pocket. Instinctive, effective, quick, just a winning play by Wade Taylor, who finished the game with 25 points, 4 steals, and again, it's just A&M. They've won some high-scoring games. They've won some dogfights. They've won on the road. They win this game at home. Tennessee's leaking oil. We know that. Julian Phillips, Josiah Jordan-James, they're not playing right now. They're hurt. We'll see what that does when they get back into it. But they've still got Vescovi, and they've still got Ziegler, and they've still got guys. And they're leaking a little bit of oil. A&M is not. A&M is now 13-2 in league play. And I keep going back to these numbers, but it's impressive because when you consider that they are 13-2 against the SEC this year, and then you go back at the finish to last year's basketball season, and you see that on a run through the SEC tournament, they won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of their last 8. That means they're 20-3 over their last 23 in SEC play. That's just impressive. And they're doing it without pros, in my opinion. They've got some nice transfer posts, couple of nice transfer guards, Taylor making plays, and they keep winning games. So do I against the number. Next game, Mississippi State, Missouri. I will take Mississippi State. I will take the 3.5 points at Missouri. Bang, bang. No, that's not right. They lost by 2. That's a winner. Casey, don't hit me with the buzzer. I got 3.5 points with Mississippi State, and they won. They lost by 2. So I covered there. It was an overtime game, and Missouri did enough to win the game. This was impressive, in my opinion, for Missouri because they won a rock fight. And we know that this Missouri team would rather go out there and light it up and score 80 points and that be their style of play. Well, Mississippi State usually isn't going to allow you to do that. And they didn't last night. Mississippi State slowed the game down. They didn't allow Missouri to go nuts from 3. They only shot 33%. But in the end, Missouri did enough to win the game. Now, there was a play late, and Mississippi State had a chance to win it on the road and couldn't get it done. But Missouri did, and I think that one is crippling. Crippling, that's a strong word. Sometimes you say a word and you go, is that exactly what I mean? It's close to crippling for Mississippi State's tournament chances. They're now 6-9 in league play. They can't have a winning record in the league. Their non-conference resume is very poor because they didn't play anybody. So you're trying to get quad 1 wins. You're trying to get road wins, and they didn't get this one against Missouri. You look at their schedule the rest of the way if they're trying to make the tournament, and they got A&M, so that's a real good chance at home to get a quad 1 win. They got South Carolina. That's not going to help you at all. And then they're at Vanderbilt, who is playing pretty good, and so that could help you a touch. But you needed this one at Missouri, and they didn't get it. So tough there. For Missouri, you're right there in the mix to make the tournament. You're 8-7 in league play. You do have 20 wins now. Your non-conference had one nice win over Illinois. So you look at what they've got left, and it's the easiest schedule remaining. They got at Georgia, at LSU, and a home game with Ole Miss. If they can win those 3 games, now all of a sudden you're looking up at a team that's conference record is 11-7. They didn't trip up too bad in the non-conference. I think that is an NCAA tournament team. So they've got to, easier said than done, you got to go take care of your business, but I think they're going to make it. And the last game was probably the one that had the biggest talking point. It was Georgia and Arkansas. And I will take Arkansas inside Bud Walton Arena, laying 14 points. Covered with ease. A 32-point win by Arkansas. They were up 19 at half and did not take their foot off the gas. In fact, they scored 54 points in the second half. So that's a 3-for-3 night for your boy on SEC basketball picks against the number. But the big story here was not Arkansas beating Georgia at Bud Walton. You expect Arkansas to beat Georgia at Bud Walton. The story here is that Nick Smith came back and looked like Nick Smith. He's been the story all year long, hasn't played, been sitting out. He kept saying he was going to come back, and at a certain point you look at it and go, maybe he's just not going to come back. But he kept trying, kept working, and he played 29 minutes last night, and he scored 26 points. He was 5 of 8 from 3, which is his best skill set. He was 9 of 14 from the floor, made 3 of his 4 free throws, had 2 assists, only 1 turnover, and that's what this Arkansas team needs. Because now, if you allow Nick Smith Jr. to go for 25 a night, which he is capable of, that's not out of the question. This is a real potential top 10 pick in the NBA draft. Now, all of a sudden, you ramp Devo Davis's shots down a little bit, which they did last night. He shot the ball twice. You ramp Jordan Walsh's shots down a little bit. He shot the ball 6 times. You let those guys be the athletes and playmakers they can be off the ball. You don't need Black to do everything in terms of handling the basketball. He went 5 of 7 from the floor, dished out 8 assists, some of those to Nick Smith. All of a sudden, the pieces start to work a little bit better. So, Arkansas's got its flaws, and its resume is a little clunky, but they got their guy back, and it's going to be a fascinating test case. Well, not a test case, here's the situation with what the selection committee decides to do with Arkansas. Because if Nick Smith, over the next 2 weeks, starts averaging 23 a night, that's a different team. And you can't just forget everything that happened in November and December and January, but I think you can weigh it a little bit, especially if they go to the SEC tournament and rip off a few. So, again, the story is not a 32-point win by Arkansas over a bad Georgia team. Story is, this is what people were talking about with Nick Smith. He showed up and showed out in a big way. Awesome, awesome performance from him. And Arkansas gets the win to move to 8-7 in league play. So quickly look at the games that are on the docket tonight in Southeastern Conference play. Give you some picks there. See if we can stay hot. Now, I mean, if you're fading me now, you're just defiant. You're not analyzing the situation properly. I'm on a heater. You got Kentucky going to Gainesville to play Florida. Kentucky is a 2.5-point favorite. I love Kentucky in this spot. I haven't loved them all year. I think Florida's reeling. I don't expect them to play very well. They don't have their man in the middle in Colin Castleton. I think Kentucky can expose that. Kentucky's back is against the wall a little bit. They did play very well over the weekend. I like Kentucky to go down there and certainly win by more than 2.5. So give me Kentucky there. Alabama and South Carolina are going to play in a monster mismatch in Columbia, 17. There's no chance you're going to get me to bite on South Carolina against Bama with almost any number because I can't feel comfortable with that whatsoever. So give me Bama to cover the 17 in Columbia, South Carolina against a very, very poor South Carolina team. Ole Miss and Auburn will play on the Plains. I guess we can call this the Hugh Freeze Bowl now. Maybe the Tommy Tuberville Bowl at a given time. Either way, Ole Miss is at Auburn. Auburn is a 13-point favorite. I think they run Ole Miss absolutely off the floor here. Rebels have very little to play for, if anything at all. Their coach is running out the string. Auburn's back very much against the wall, having not played great basketball of late. I mean, Bruce Pearl's team is straight up leaking oil at this point, just like I said that Tennessee was. They've lost now 6 of their last 8 games. Those include losses to Vanderbilt, loss to West Virginia, Bama, Tennessee as well. And so it's the tougher part of their schedule. But Ole Miss does not qualify there. So give me Auburn. I will lay the large number there. I will lay the 13, and I will take Bruce Pearl's squad in Auburn Arena. That's your look at Southeastern Conference basketball for the weekend. A new installment. We've done it for the last couple of weeks. We'll do it again. It's a What If Wednesday next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford, love telling you about the service department over at Bayou Ford. They make things so convenient for you. I know that in the past, getting your automobile serviced is just a pain. 1, costs you some cash. 2, you pull in, you sit in the dusty waiting room, you scroll through your phone, you have the prices right on the TV, you got to wait for them to find the part and then order the part, and your car's not up yet and when you're going to be done. You've wasted a whole day. That's not the case with Bayou Ford. They've got 6 full-time drivers on hand. They will come to you. They will give you a loaner. They will take your car back to the dealership to perform that service. You get on with your day. Get the kids to school, get the kids to practice, get to work, do what you need to do in that loaner. When your car is done, they will bring your car right back to you. They will take the keys to that loaner and drive it back. You didn't miss a beat. That's convenience, and that's what they care about over there at Bayou Ford. Check out their inventory daily on the website, BayouFord.com. Every new purchase comes with a 1,000,000-mile powertrain warranty over there at Bayou Ford. The website again, BayouFord.com. Bayou Ford, where they're going to do right by you.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls Bands and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne, plus two-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
Women who suffer from cardiac arrest outside of a hospital are less likely than men to receive life-saving CPR from bystanders. This is especially true for Black and Latino women. Be the one in your family to help change this statistic by taking the American Heart Association's challenge to learn CPR. Be the beat for someone you love. You can make a difference when it matters most. Go to heart.org today to take the CPR challenge and save lives.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained.
Join us for the Wednesday edition of Game Time. We're live at Mestizo Restaurant at Acadian and I-10, celebrating our 24-year anniversary. It's Game Time for Mestizo, Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
David Grubb in 30 minutes. 1 hour from now, Chris Demouy on some LSU baseball. Still tons to get to here on this Wednesday. Hope yours is going awesome. It's Wednesday. It's 1:30. That means it's time for What If Wednesday.
Time. Space. Reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question. What if?
Gosh, I swear every time I hear that, I feel like I could pick up a car. All right, getting started right now.
What if you tried to pick up a car? Is that the question?
Yeah, I would fail miserably. What if I don't give up anything for Lent?
I mean, I'm not giving anything up for Lent. I did it one time. I gave up alcohol during the week during Lent one time, and I made it all the way through.
Alcohol during the week.
Yeah,
that's commitment.
Yeah,
there,
it really
huh?
was. I'll tell you when it was. It was the LSU NCAA tournament under Johnny Jones when LSU lost at the buzzer on that NC State game.
Yeah, it was like the second round, right?
It was the first round.
First
I
round.
couldn't have a pop during that game or after it was over, after they had lost on a buzzer beater. That I remember very well. Look, I don't feel like it's necessary for me in my faith journey to not scroll through Instagram for 5 weeks. Like, I just don't, or give up chocolate. I could give up Cokes or, if you want to do it, I think that's great. And if you want to make a sacrifice and it's important to you, I'm all about it. But I don't feel the urge to do so, and I'm just going to continue just kind of living during Lent. So I'm good with it.
All right, sticking with the Catholic theme, what if you had a big business meeting today, but you've already gotten your ashes?
I think it's fine. I think especially like in South Louisiana. In this part of the world, it's understood. Everyone knows what's going on. So I don't have any issue with that whatsoever. And I know Tony Reale all the time on Around the Horns always got the ashes working on Ash Wednesday. I think that's perfectly acceptable to keep those things rocking. I think maybe if you're out in maybe Northern California or maybe Manhattan, it maybe gets you a couple of second looks. But I think it's just fine in this neck of the woods. And I was talking to my wife and she was laughing. She had to text a friend. She went to Ash Wednesday Mass with Myers, my 14-month-old, this morning, and he had ashes on his head, but she wanted to put him down for his nap at 9 o'clock, and she thought he would, wreck his crib with ashes, so she wiped him off. She didn't know if that was, sacrilege. I was like, I think he's going to be all right. We went to church. We got the ashes.
He's got time to make up.
Yeah, it's nap time. I think we can take the ashes off, so we're all good.
All right, what if... Ooh, you're going to have... I don't know what your answer is going to be for this one. What if I offered you $250 in cash to watch the Live Golf event this weekend?
$250? That's not insignificant. $250 real deal. But it's on principle, I've told myself I'm never going to watch one shot of Live Golf. And for $250, although that would be a nice little hit, I'm going to pass on that. I would certainly have a number. We could get to a number where I would watch some Live this weekend. $250, not quite going to get there. I despise Live, and I'm not going to watch it, and I'm not going to take the $250 off your hands there. So we'll have to move right along.
I'd watch it for $40.
You hate golf.
Yeah, I know. If you paid me to watch it, I would watch it. All right, what if Hunter Elliott needs Tommy John surgery?
For those unaware, Hunter Elliott is Ole Miss's ace. He entered their rotation last year, midway through the season as a freshman left-hander, and was just sensational for them all the way through their national championship run. He started for them on Friday and was very, very good. Had high strikeout total, 5 innings. Apparently did not feel any discomfort during the start or after. Felt fine on Saturday, the next day. And then on Sunday, felt some forearm discomfort. They called it tightness. And so they shut him down. He threw a little bit on Monday and still felt the tightness. So they sent off for an MRI. They got MRIs done on Monday. As of Tuesday night, Mike Bianco had said that they had not gotten word back from everyone. They took the MRI and sent it to a number of places around the country for some opinions on it, and that's the situation right now. If he needs Tommy John surgery and misses the year, it's just a massive, massive blow to Ole Miss. They're an offensive team that's going to try to cobble it together a little bit with some talented pitchers, but not necessarily the defined roles that they have had. Elliott's the top of the snake, and if he's gone, then there's a massive gap. It appears that he's not going to pitch this weekend no matter what. Mike Bianco's already said that. They're going to move their closer to start on Friday and figure out what they're going to do in the bullpen. So now they're a couple arms short in the bullpen. But if Elliott needs Tommy John surgery, Ole Miss is in a world of hurt.
What if king cakes were available year-round?
I don't think they would be as popular.
Well, because, let's back up, they're not that good. They're good, but...
I enjoy king cake very much.
Yeah, I do too.
I had a couple pieces yesterday as kind of the last hurrah, but I think if it was available all the time, it would maybe get overshadowed. But because there's a celebratory nature to it, because there's the nuance of the baby in the offices, and you can bring the next king cake, and there's just a general merriment that goes with Mardi Gras and carnival season, I think that it certainly enhances it. I personally think I would still like crawfish just as much if it were available the exact same price and size all year round. I would eat it all the time. King cake, I don't know that I feel the same way about. I think I would probably call it a little bit overrated, but because I only eat it for 5 weeks a year, I think it rocks. So I'm pro king cake. Let's go to the Bayou Ford chat and see what the what ifs are in the Bayou Ford chat. One says, it's Yodak Barabucci says, bad Catholic, Hunt, LOL. I'm not Catholic. In fact, not Catholic. Methodist. My wife is Catholic. My son's going to be raised in the Catholic church. I went to Catholic school my entire life, but not Catholic. So I guess the whole Ash Wednesday thing maybe doesn't even apply to me, or giving stuff up for Lent. I don't know. I just don't feel the urge to give up television or read more, or no Coke during Lent. Coca-Cola. Every time I say that now, it feels like it has this like negative connotation. Lars Corville says, what if Live becomes more popular than the PGA? That's not going to happen. That's just not. There's way too many massively prominent PGA stars that are so opposed to the entire thing that they're just not going to be able to pull Justin Thomas, Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth. They're not going to be able to get those guys over to Live. And I think the bloom a little bit's off the rose with Live. They thought they were going to get some splash ads this year. And I think Sebastian Munoz is like the biggest guy they just signed to their new gig. They got Thomas Peters as well, but they don't have any sponsors. They don't have a television deal. It's looked at as money that comes from a corrupt place. Norman is just immensely unlikable and has become such a rival to the tour and serving people with lawsuits and all that kind of stuff. So I don't have to worry about that. I know that it's a what if, and we're playing in hypothetical scenarios. It's just not going to happen. So I'll go ahead and just nip that right there in the bud. There's a couple in here that I'm not going to read, but I appreciate the humor and the effort to get that onto the show. Let's see. I think that's about all the what ifs.
Here's one for you.
Lay it on me.
What if Nick Saban retires after this next season?
I mean, I would be thrilled. I'd be over the moon. And Bama would conduct a large search that I think would maybe dabble in the Lane Kiffin world. I think maybe Bill O'Brien. I don't know. Everyone's like, oh, Dabo. It's like, why would Dabo leave playing Wake Forest, NC State, Louisville, and Boston College to go tangle with Kirby Smart every year? Like, why would he do that? He wouldn't do that. And I've been saying this, and I will continue to stay steadfast in this belief. Yes, multiple coaches have had great runs at Alabama and won national championships at Alabama. But it's not a plug-and-play deal where anybody that gets dropped in there is just going to immediately have massive success. And I'm 99.9% confident, the only 0.1% being because I can't see the future literally, that the next guy is going to grossly underachieve relative to Nick Saban's success. Grossly. And they will not tolerate that. And it very likely, in my opinion, will look like a version of Smoke Laval in Baton Rouge. Now, I'm not suggesting... I mean, Smoke did make the tournament last year. That's a stark fall from grace. Smoke did not get fired for going 0-4 in Omaha. He got fired because he lost in a regional and then didn't make the tournament. So the program had eroded to that point. Now, he had some guys that were on Maneri's title team, and that certainly he had brought into the program and never coached. But the next guy is, in my opinion, likely to be fairly mediocre. That's... By Saban's ridiculous standard, I think that's more likely than not. It is more likely the next guy is fired within 6 years than wins 2 national championships in 6 years, in my opinion. That's just the way that I see it. All right, that's a What If Wednesday. Appreciate y'all for throwing them into the Bayou Ford chat. We'll do it again next week. David Grubb with us in about 17 minutes talking Pels and Alvin Kamara as we saw some video finally be surfaced from that melee and incident in Vegas. We'll chat with Chris Demui on some baseball coming up in 45 minutes at 2:30. Come back with us to close out hour number 1. Got some real trouble in Tuscaloosa. I'll get to it next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on select new 2022 Ford F-150 trucks. $10,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, Hudco can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call Hudco Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls Bands and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne, plus two-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
Women who suffer from cardiac arrest outside of a hospital are less likely than men to receive life-saving CPR from bystanders. This is especially true for Black and Latino women. Be the one in your family to help change this statistic by taking the American Heart Association's challenge to learn CPR. Be the beat for someone you love. You can make a difference when it matters most. Go to heart.org today to take the CPR challenge and save lives.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience.
Saturday at 1 p.m. as the Baylor Bears host the Texas Longhorns. Then Saturday night, the Philadelphia 76ers host the Boston Celtics at 7:30. And Sunday, the Milwaukee Bucks host the Phoenix Suns at noon. Right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Close out this hour talking about the situation that the Alabama basketball program finds itself in here in one of the greatest seasons in the history of the program on the floor, without question. A top 3 team, basically by anyone, maybe the best team in the country if you polled 25 college basketball quote-unquote experts. I've watched them a lot. They're exceptional. But this situation is a lot bigger than that. If you have not been paying attention or have seen it pop up on your Twitter feed and haven't gone into looking into it, I spent some significant time going through news reports and press conference clips and looking into the situation that has been ongoing in Tuscaloosa over the last month. And it involves a murder. But I'm going to keep it kind of, because there's a lot of characters involved here, I'm going to keep it kind of condensed to the Alabama basketball side of things, with the understanding that obviously it's much bigger than that. Darius Miles was a member of the Alabama basketball team. Brandon Miller is the best player on the basketball team. Michael Davis is Darius Miles' best friend. He's not on the basketball team. So Miles and Miller are the two basketball players. Davis is the other person involved here. This was in Tuscaloosa, night out on the Strip. I've been to the Strip 10 times. Brandon Miller is with Darius Miles and Michael Davis, and he looks at the club that they were going to go into. The line's too long. He drops Miles and Davis off. Brandon Miller leaves. He gets a text message after 1 o'clock in the morning from Darius Miles saying, "I need my joint." This is slang for gun. I never heard the term, but that's what the text said. So Miller, with the gun that is Darius Miles' gun in that car, drives it there, parks the car, and gets out. Miles, who had just been ruled out for the season with an ankle injury, tells his buddy Michael Davis, the heat is in the hat, meaning that the gun is on site, and there's one in the head, meaning the gun is loaded. They had gotten into a verbal altercation with a couple that was also on the Strip. The woman was dancing. She said, "I'm not interested. I've got a boyfriend." The boyfriend and Miles and Davis got into a disagreement. And that's when Miles told Darius Miller he needed his joint. So Miller brought it. Miles gets the gun out of the car. Brandon Miller did not give the gun to anyone. Miles got the gun out of the car and handed it to Michael Davis. Miles then moved his girlfriend out of the line of sight, out of the line of fire, and Michael Davis, the non-basketball player, walked up and unloaded at this couple in their car. 8 shots. He said, "I told you I was going to get you," and then fired the shots. So Brandon Miller, we now know, transported a loaded gun to what became a murder scene. And Nate Oates knew this happened, and they dismissed Darius Miles from the team, but did not punish Brandon Miller. This was only brought to our attention this week that Brandon Miller brought this loaded gun. And Nate Oates in a press conference yesterday said, "We knew about that. Can't control everything everybody does outside of practice. Nobody knew that was going to happen. College kids are out. Brandon hasn't been in any type of trouble, nor is he in any type of trouble in this case. Wrong spot at the wrong time." It is evident now to anyone who is paying attention to this that Alabama collected this information that 2 of their players were at the site of a murder, and that one of them texted for the gun and the other brought the loaded gun to the murder site, and did not levy any sort of discipline to Brandon Miller. So it's obvious to everyone that Alabama decided, we're going to let the legal process play out. They've said they can't charge Brandon Miller with anything here because they can't prove intent. And once that happens, we're just going to play some basketball. And the PR machine starts rolling, and they're trying to say all the right things when all of us know what the right thing is. And Nate Oates slipped up and couldn't keep the PR machine rolling when he said wrong spot at the wrong time. Wrong spot at the wrong time means you were getting a sandwich and a shootout happened 20 feet from you and you were a witness. Wrong spot at the wrong time is not, I brought the loaded gun at 1 o'clock in the morning in Tuscaloosa to my friend who said he needed the loaded gun, and then the loaded gun got used to murder a woman. That is not wrong spot at the wrong time. And if Alabama determines that they're going to let this go and they're just going to let Brandon Miller play, we'll understand where their priorities are. I understand there's a legal process, that everything's got to play out. But this is a tough one to look at objectively and determine that Brandon Miller needs to be out there playing basketball tonight. And I'm well aware. We covered a story yesterday where an LSU athlete was arrested with a gun on him. There is a difference in the two situations. One's got someone dead. Tragic story out of Tuscaloosa. Tragic stuff. We'll come back in hour number 2. David Grubb going to talk some Saints and Pels. We'll also talk to Krista Mui on some baseball. Back after SportsCenter.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Ram 1500s. 2022 Ram 1500 trucks on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls Bands and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting with a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne, plus two-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
Women who suffer from cardiac arrest outside of a hospital are less likely than men to receive life-saving CPR from bystanders. This is especially true for Black and Latino women. Be the one in your family to help change this statistic by taking the American Heart Association's challenge to learn CPR. Be the beat for someone you love. You can make a difference when it matters most. Go to heart.org today to take the CPR challenge and save lives.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy delayed today's scheduled procedure to repair a torn UCL due to swelling in his right elbow. The hope is he can have the procedure done next month. Purdy is set to miss the entire offseason program. Trey Lance, recovering from an ankle fracture, expected to be healthy for offseason activities. One quarterback not part of San Francisco's future, impending free agent Jimmy Garoppolo. And there's a certain team in the AFC East, the best fit for Jimmy G, believes ESPN's Robert Griffin III.
The Jets. When you think about what Jimmy G had in San Francisco, he had a running game. The Jets have Breece Hall. He had offensive weapons. The Jets have Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore, Braxton Berrios, C.J. Uzomah. They had a defense. You're talking about Sauce Gardner and Queenan Williams. He might not be the hero that Jets fans want, but he is the hero that Gotham deserves.
RG3 on Get Up. NHL superstar winger Alex Ovechkin has rejoined his Capitals teammates. He'd been away from the team since February 14th following the death of his father. He's expected to return to the lineup tomorrow versus the Ducks or Saturday against the Rangers.
Coming up Thursday, the KJM off-season check-in continues with the Broncos and the Dolphins. With Sean Payton in the house, is Russ going to start cooking again? I'll tell you my answer. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
Now, Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2 on a Wednesday. Short week for a lot of folks out there. Maybe a long week for a lot of folks out there because the kids are out of school and you're having to deal with them. Either way, appreciate you hanging out with us here on this Wednesday. Lots to get to here in hour number 2. Chris Demui talking baseball in 30 minutes. Now we head out to the Jim's Firearms Hotline, chat with David Grubb, he of the Hard in the Paint podcast. David, we did all right during Mardi Gras. We're feeling okay today?
I'm feeling okay. Just got out of the gym, so I'm a little exhausted, but survived the Mardi Gras weekend.
Love to hear it. A lot of fun had by all down there in New Orleans over the weekend. Let's start with the Saints and Alvin Kamara. We've understood this situation has been ongoing and court dates have been moved, and it's just kind of dragged out. Now some video has surfaced. I'll be quite honest. I don't know the parties involved well enough to identify each and every person in the video. I'm not certain if you've seen the video or not, but if so, your thoughts on what we know now that we didn't maybe know 24 hours ago.
Well, I don't think the video changes much of what we do, because even when we go back to when the incident happened at the Pro Bowl last year, we knew that Alvin had spoken to police already. We knew that, all these things have been pushed down the line, but there was no doubt in my mind from what we knew initially that Alvin was involved in some way. My biggest problem with this whole thing is not that, I think it clearly shows he's involved. He spoke to police, says he was involved. He's going to pay some type of price, and it's probably a 6-game suspension. My thing is, ultimately, looking back, Alvin Kamara probably wishes he would have settled this then than waiting till now, because the impact on his career is going to be worse today than it was a year ago.
In what way?
I think a year ago he was a year younger. He wasn't going to miss 6 games of a season. The Saints were in a much different position. So if they had lost him for 6 games last season, and they still have the season that they had, a losing season, the look is a lot different. Now you go into this season, the second year of Dennis Allen, him really on the hot seat in a lot of ways, particularly after the way the offense performed. Alvin Kamara is the best offensive player you have coming back, the most proven player that you have coming back as well on that side of the football. And you're looking at, you could miss him for at least 6 games, depending on how the suspension goes. And he's a year older, and he's taken a beating, quite frankly, the last 2 seasons with the Saints. And then you look at the Saints situation behind him, and there's nothing on the depth chart that makes you feel good.
Look, I'm not as emotionally connected to the Saints as I am with LSU. Everybody that listens is aware of that. And I feel like I'm kind of piling on when I discuss different aspects of where the Saints are, whether it's with coaching and quarterback and roster and salary cap and Kamara. And it seems like everything is painted in a negative light. Do you feel that way right now?
I don't see how you can't. And I think it's the fans' prerogative to be optimistic because
Sure.
it's the off season. But that's not our job. You know, we're asked to analyze, we're asked to discuss, and at the facts as they present themselves are the Saints are a team that's $40 million over the cap, that doesn't have a starting quarterback, that staff is in flux, that has holes at every level on both offense and defense, and you don't know how quickly they can turn this around. They are clearly in a rebuild. I don't think any of those things are negative as far as presenting them. They're the facts of the matter. And I think we have to operate from that. You can't say that, you know, from any objective perspective, if another team were in that position and that were not, and they weren't your favorite team, as a fan, if you're looking at that and you say, this is a bad situation, a difficult one at the very least.
For sure. So what do you think the future holds for Alvin Kamara if you had to guess at it?
Now, if I'm Alvin Kamara, what I'm hoping is you get the suspension and the Saints are so desperate for talent that they hold on to me in spite of this. If I'm the Saints, I'm really looking around now, and I'm thinking of judging this and looking at this as a Christian McCaffrey situation. I got everything good that I was going to get out of Alvin Kamara. I got as close to the Super Bowl as I'm going to get with him in his prime. The next 2 years, the Saints are probably not going to be challengers for an NFC championship. So to me, if I'm the Saints, I'm looking at getting the best value I can for him.
We'll see if that market presents itself. Let's shift gears over to the Pelicans, chatting with David Grubb, Hard in the Paint podcast. Pels headed to Toronto tonight. Toronto a 5-point favorite there. Your thoughts on that matchup?
You know, Toronto's a difficult team for the Pelicans. When they played the first time this season, the Pelicans did win that game, but it was a game where the Raptors were still coming back from a lot of injuries as well, and the Pelicans were relatively healthy at that time. The Pelicans are one of the worst road teams in the NBA. The Raptors are a very good home team. I didn't like the way the Pelicans went into the All-Star break. A lot of people say, well, they're just ready to take a break. Who are they to be in that position to take a night off? So I think that there are some concerns, and I want to see how quickly the Pelicans do ramp up. But I think Toronto is playing with a sense of urgency. So I don't feel optimistic about the early part of this schedule with the Pelicans coming back, especially knowing that Zion Williamson won't be back for another couple weeks at least.
Yeah, that was my next question, was about the kind of the ramp up out of the All-Star break. Who, maybe because they were a little bit banged up, could be the most positively impacted by having a little bit of time off?
Certainly it's C.J. McCollum.
Yeah.
You know, I think C.J. took a lot on during the first two-thirds of the season. You know, people think we're at the second half of the season. No, two-thirds of the season is gone. And, you know, C.J. played a lot of minutes, did a lot of things that probably shouldn't have had to. And he was breaking down at certain points. So I think he needed the rest. You saw him pull out of the three-point contest to get a little additional rest. And certainly Larry Nance Jr., who's had to take on a bigger role because there's no depth behind Jonas Valanciunas. He needed the rest as well. So those two guys, I think, will benefit the most.
We've talked a little bit in the last month or so about the Pels and their defense, specifically as it pertains to rim protection. How would you characterize Jonas Valanciunas as a defender?
He is a poor, generous. He's a poor individual defender. But the Pelicans are making it worse because they don't have anybody around him. Like you balance your lineup out knowing what your players' deficiencies are, and you knew what Jonas's deficiencies were coming into the season. He's not supposed to be doing drop coverage and pick and roll. He's just not quick enough. But you've got him out there doing it. And then to counteract that, the bigger problem is you don't mitigate that by allowing him to be any kind of offensive threat. So I think Jonas Valanciunas over the last month, you know, his scoring is way down. His production, he's still rebounding at a very solid level. But I think he's been exposed because the guards are not stopping penetration, and he doesn't have a legitimate power forward next to him to defend and switch or who can rebound. And you see the Pelicans are getting beaten a lot on the interior, giving up a lot of points in the paint and second chance points.
Pels at the Raptors tonight at 6:30. David Grubb's our guy down there in New Orleans, Hard in the Paint podcast. David, we appreciate your time, man.
Always a pleasure.
He is David Grubb talking Saints and Pels. I really, I almost feel guilty. It's like I was trying to say there. It's just every single aspect we discuss about the Saints, it's just not very rosy. And this is not with Alvin Kamara, and you wonder what the Saints could get for him at this point, with the suspension potentially looming, with his age, with the quote-unquote, to use a cliche, tread on the tires or lack thereof here. I don't know. It's just tough. He's been a treat to watch in the black and gold. There's no question about that. As I was talking to one of my buddies, actually over Mardi Gras, when we were talking about Kamara, and I can't recall anyone that I would rather throw a screen pass to. Breeze and P.T. Cruiser, Pierre Thomas were phenomenal in the screen game. Reggie Bush, great open field runner, of course. The patience, the speed, the burst. Sometimes even what looks nonchalant, it's entertaining. Kamara has been a heck of a find for the New Orleans Saints, but right now his situation is not great, and the situation with the entire organization is just not great. So focus on the Pelicans, see if they can get it done against the Raptors tonight. LSU and Vanderbilt will also be on the hardwood tonight. I'll get you ready for that one coming up next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com. How well does your closet function? Is it just a disorganized mess? Is it too small? What would your custom closet look like? Let David Duvall and his team at One Bath and Closets come in and show you. They'll come in, free consultation. They'll give you a questionnaire. Sometimes maybe better if the man of the house leaves while the woman of the house says how many shoes she's got. Maybe something vice versa. But they'll get the information from you. They'll customize a solution for you, and they'll show you what you can do with your closet in your home. Maybe it's a full-scale, rip out one closet and put a new one in. Maybe you just need to better utilize the space that you've got with cubbies, with racks, with sliding drawers, with mirrors. All that stuff can be done with David Duvall and his team at One Bath and Closets. If you tell them the Hunt Palmer Show sent you over to One Bath and Closets, they're going to not charge you for the rip out of your current closet or the labor to install the new one. They're just going to charge you for that unit. Go to the website, onebathandclosets.com. Look at the testimonials. I can promise you this. David Duvall and his team are not going to take your job, do it as quickly as they can, move on to the next job site, then come back 3 weeks later to fix something that went wrong. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. Go to the website, onebathandclosets.com, onebathandclosets.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls Bands and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting with a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne, plus two-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Charles Hannigan joins us for the Thursday edition of Hanny Time. We recap LSU basketball against Vandy. Take a look ahead to a huge college basketball weekend and LSU baseball headed to Round Rock. Hanny Time, noon weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Talking baseball with Chris Demouy coming up here in 15 minutes. Former Tiger left-hander who has the 60 feet 6 inches LSU baseball podcast. Demouy does an awesome job with that podcast, and we appreciate him coming on each and every Wednesday. So we'll chat with him here coming up. But LSU and Vanderbilt will play inside the PMAC tonight. It'll be a 6 o'clock tip. Vandy comes in under Jerry Stackhouse, 15-12 on the season. They are 8-6 in league play. They've won 5 in a row. They beat Ole Miss by 3. They beat Tennessee at the buzzer on a three-pointer at the corner by 1. They went to Florida and won by 8. They went to South Carolina and won by 12. And they beat Auburn by 2 points as well. It's the first time they have won 5 straight SEC games since 2015. If they win this one, it'll be the first time they've won 6 straight SEC games since 2008. So hasn't been a great go for Vanderbilt hoops of late. Look, this is a team in the non-conference, Vanderbilt, that was really bad. They got smoked by Southern Miss 60-48. They lost to Grambling 64-62. Can't be losing games like that in the non-conference. But they have picked it up, finally, under Jerry Stackhouse, who, if you've been listening to me for any period of time, either on Hoops with Hunt or here talking about Vanderbilt, or just listen to me talk about the SEC week in, week out, Jerry Stackhouse's offense is really impressive to watch. They are crisp. They space the floor very well. They do a good job with either ball screens, some dribble handoff stuff. They'll run some pin down, horn sets like that. And they get into really good action. They just haven't been a very good defensive team, and they haven't made shots at the level you need to. Scottie Pippen kind of carried lots of the load the last few years, and they've kind of found a little bit more variety in their offense this year. Offensive efficiency won't jump off the page, 133rd in the country. They do shoot a lot of threes. They're 36th in the country in threes attempted. They're a pretty good offensive rebounding team, and they're very good at not turning the basketball over. 44th fewest turnovers per possession offensively. It is a crisp, well-oiled machine on the offensive end for Vanderbilt. They're not out of control. They don't play exceptionally fast, but they get some pretty good shots, and they've been making them of late. Defensively, not as good, 246 in the country in defensive efficiency. They do block shots, 36th in the country in blocks. That's because of Liam Robbins, who I'll talk about here in a second. And they don't really play out of control and force a lot of steals. 331st in the country in steals force, so they don't do a ton of that. They've had 10 guys this year start an SEC game. 10 guys. That is a lot of guys to start a league game. Everything they do runs through Liam Robbins. 7-foot center, 250 pounds, grad transfer, started at Drake, then went to Minnesota. He led the Big Ten in blocks last year, was the Big Ten Player of the Week twice last year. Over the last 3 games, Liam Robbins is averaging 26.6 points per game. He's gone over 30 once in that stretch. In league games overall, 19.2 points per game. Then a pretty good three-point shooter, although he doesn't shoot it a ton, 12 of 24. He's a big-time post who's a wide body, big frame, tough to deal with, and KJ Williams will have to go down there and fight him for most of this game. There's no question about that. The rest of what Vanderbilt does is kind of on the perimeter. Tyron Lawrence, 6'4" junior guard, 12 points per game. He's the guy who hit the buzzer beater 3 against Tennessee from the corner. Ezra Munyon, 6-foot senior. His stat line is really, really interesting to look at. I didn't realize this. I've seen him play, but I didn't realize the statistics were this skewed. He's the point guard. Again, Ezra Manjon, 6-foot senior. He's got 59 assists in league play this year. Second on their team is 25, so he's doubled up their second leading assist guy in SEC play. All the while, he has only attempted 11 threes in league play and made one of them. He is 1 for 11 from league play and is still creating for his team at a really impressive clip. So this is a guy you don't even have to go out there and guard. This guy shoots less than Trey Hannibal. But he's still winning enough off the bounce to dish. It's impressive. Miles Studi is their sharpshooter. He led the SEC in three-point shooting last year and has been good this year for him. And then the last guy is a guy that a lot of you in Baton Rouge are probably very familiar with, and that is Jordan Rice. He went to Dunham, 6'6", 220-pound senior, has been up there at Vanderbilt for 4 years. He's averaging 10.2 points per game in SEC play. He's a good athlete. He's long, rangy, and kind of does what he wants. So, again, this team is put together with some interesting pieces. Studi can really shoot. Lawrence has shot it pretty well. They're your wings. Robbins is a big physical post, and they've got a point guard in Manjon who is a distributor pretty much only. He will get to the rim and shoot some twos, but he's not going to shoot from three at all. It's Vanderbilt's playing really well. They've won 5 in a row, and you already know everything you need to know about LSU's basketball team here. If the crowd on Saturday is any indication, tonight it's not going to be a huge crowd either. And I felt terrible. I don't go to the press conferences post-game, but we had Glenn West on and Matthew Bruni on yesterday, and they said that Cam Hayes literally teared up during the press conference on Saturday. He had just gone for 25 points, but they lost again, and that one hurts. Again, for the same reason that I'm telling you that you can't tell college football players that the Bama game is that you can't tell them it's not a big game when they play Bama. You can't tell these kids that this 2-win South Carolina team coming to your home floor isn't a real opportunity for you to win a game. They know that. They know South Carolina's not good. They know they have a chance to win the game. When you come up short and you really aren't even competitive late in the second half against South Carolina, that's a gut punch. It just is. And you wonder how many times they can get up off the mat. When I got guys in post-game press conferences crying, don't sit here and tell me they don't care at all. Don't. They do. It's devastating, humiliating, embarrassing, frustrating. It's all those things when you go out there and have a chance tonight to set the school record for consecutive league losses. And as I've said many times over the last 3 weeks, I know there are plenty of you out there who will find something better to do on your Wednesday evening at 6 o'clock than to go out to the PMAC or flip this game on. There will be plenty of y'all. I'm not one. I will have it on or I will go. Haven't decided yet. We had a long weekend. Alyssa's been with Myers all day because she's off and he's not going to daycare because it's closed. I might be home. I might be at the PMAC. We'll see. I'm pulling for him tonight. Vanderbilt's playing much better than LSU. If they both play their baseline game, LSU will lose by 10 or 15 points. But you never know when LSU might have a day like South Carolina did on Saturday where they start throwing up shots and they start falling. You never know where Vanderbilt, kind of their good play runs out because they're not an elite team. They're playing good. They're not elite team. Maybe Robbins gets in foul trouble. I'll be pulling for him tonight. If I'm looking for some keys for LSU tonight, one, you have to deal with Robbins. You've got to double him. You got to get the ball out of his hands. He's a good passer, very good and very willing passer. But you can't let him go for 32 points. You got to help KJ, keep him out of foul trouble. It's a tough matchup to put Jalen Reed down there on Liam Robbins. He's going to be giving up 30 pounds in 3 years. So you're going to need Fountain to help. You're going to need Williams to help. You're going to have to deal with Liam Robbins. Keep him off the glass. And then Robbins creates a problem with LSU trying to drive because he can block shots. So, it's a shot-making sport. Hopefully, LSU, instead of shooting their normal 33, 34%, shoots 47% in this game. Vanderbilt's not a great defensive team. Their offense is what got them cooking. But we'll see. 6 o'clock tip inside the PMAC tonight. I don't love LSU's chances, but let's hope the Tigers can come up with an inspired effort and get off the schneid here. That's what I'll be hoping for this evening. This February, 104.5 ESPN and Citizens Bank and Trust are here to offer you a holiday rebate to the tune of $2,000 in cash. We'll also be selecting a local prize winner to receive $1,000 in cash. Sign up now at 1045ESPN.com. All right, let's change gears here. We'll talk LSU baseball. Tigers got a sweep over the weekend, then pummeled Southern yesterday in the box. Chris Demouy, host of the 60 feet 6 inches LSU baseball podcast, former Tiger and national champion, going to jump aboard in his normal Wednesday spot. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LWCC is Louisiana loyal. They're elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana, like Simone Malaz. Simone is a campaign director for Restore the Mississippi River Delta, a 5-group coalition focused on achieving future Mississippi River Delta that includes a just, climate-resilient coast where people and nature can thrive. Our state's coastal and land loss crisis, not only a problem for Louisiana, the state's home to nearly 40% of the nation's wetlands and is responsible for the production of 20% of all the commercial fisheries landings by weight in the lower 48 states. Simone has dedicated her career to protecting Louisiana's coast, and she is the executive director of Restore or Retreat. That's why she's a champion of Louisiana. LWCC is giving us this platform to talk about champions of Louisiana. We want to do it. Go to lwcc.com/champions and nominate a person, nonprofit, or a business to be a champion of Louisiana so that we can tell their story like we've told so many over the past few months and like we've been proud to tell Simone's this month. Simone Malaz is February's champion of Louisiana, presented by LWCC.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Women who suffer from cardiac arrest outside of a hospital are less likely than men to receive life-saving CPR from bystanders. This is especially true for Black and Latino women. Be the one in your family to help change this statistic by taking the American Heart Association's challenge to learn CPR. Be the beat for someone you love. You can make a difference when it matters most. Go to heart.org today to take the CPR challenge and save lives.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls Bands and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting with a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman.
Rock in a hard place.
with Timothy Wayne, plus two-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
Moon Griffon is back. The voice of Louisiana politics makes his return to Baton Rouge. Catch the Moon Griffon Show weekdays from 9 to 11 a.m. on Talk 107.3.
Toyota in Opelousas is here to help you ring in the new year with no markups, and you'll never pay over MSRP.
It's Musso. Join us for Wednesday's AFR presented by Pluckers. The baseball Tigers are off to Round Rock. We'll hear from Jay Johnson. Basketball Tigers try to snap their losing streak. They welcome in Vanderbilt. It's Wednesday's AFR 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Just received a picture of my wife strapping in the rollerblades she purchased during COVID. So anybody in the Baton Rouge area, maybe the Garden District area, sees a woman that's been injured rollerblading and is maybe laying in a yard somewhere, please administer some help and maybe call the authorities. She may be injured here in the very near future. We hope not. Chris Demui is our guest on Jim's Firearms Hotline, former Tiger and host of the 60 Feet 6 Inches LSU baseball podcast. Chris, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing, buddy?
Doing very well. Tigers off to a good start, 4-0. Let's start with the beginning of all this. Back on Friday, Paul Skeens certainly looked the part.
Yeah, just absolutely dominant. And as a fan, you know, that's exactly what I wanted to see from him. I've seen that in scrimmages. Obviously, the coaching staff has too. But for those that weren't able to get out there in the fall and the spring, I mean, that's what he's shown every time he's gone out there. You know, 97 to 99, he lights up the radar gun early in the game, and he's just dominant. And he has other pitches to go along with that, with the slider and the changeup. And you saw some two-seamers on Friday, but just didn't really need it against Western Michigan. But I wasn't surprised with that outing against that team early on.
Yeah, let me play devil's advocate here, as I'm prone to do. What would you say to the LSU fans that says, I saw Blake Money go out there and dominate on opening night too, and by the middle of the SEC season he wasn't even the weekend rotation. Why should I buy into this one?
I mean, I guess, yeah, I could see your point of view, but I would just point to the fact that he was the, number 2 ranked transfer portal player coming in. He's a top 10 projected major league pick in the draft, especially from the college side. So I guess I would just say wait and see. He was on Team USA this summer with Cruz and Morgan. So to me, if all those people are agreeing the fact that he's a top prospect and he went out there and improved it on Friday, yeah, we can wait till the SEC, till he faces A&M, Arkansas, and Tennessee. I think that's going to be a good measuring stick for most people. But I don't see why that would change in a non-conference.
Looked pretty good to me. I'm just playing devil's advocate there.
Yeah.
Riley Cooper got the start on Saturday. Man, the line score is phenomenal. What'd you see from the left-hander?
Well, we'll say you got me on that one, right? Last week when you posed that to me, I thought you were kind of crazy, but it seemed like after we talked, a lot of word started leaking out that he was going to start. So,
there was some buzz.
I missed the boat on that one, but he looked phenomenal. It's one of the things where I saw a lot of these guys at these scrimmages, and until we get more body of work, I just go back to what I saw these dudes compete against, themselves, right, which is the number 1 team in the country. And he was absolutely dominant, and that didn't change. I think as the level of competition picks up, it's going to be important to see him maintain that consistency. And if LSU can get 5 innings out of him, I think that's all that Jay and Wes Johnson would ask for. And the biggest thing with him this year is just his 3 or 4 pitch mix for strikes, to where now he's just not fastball slider coming in relief. Now he's going to throw the changeup. He's got a curveball to go with it, and he just attacks his zone. And I just really like his mentality on the mound, so I'm looking forward to seeing more of it this weekend.
The thing I loved about Cooper is that everything was down and at the knees unless he wanted to elevate the fastball when he had to, and I thought the command was exceptional. Chase Shores got his first outing as a Tiger, lit up the radar gun, and maybe ran out of gas. What'd you see from him?
Yeah, I would not say disappointed, and I would say to LSU fans that throwing their hands up in the air and think that they don't have a third starter or maybe hitting the panic button, I would just say hold on. And I actually think, he he's got more in the tank in terms of his velocity, because I've seen him maintain that first, second inning velocity for 3-4 innings before. And it just seemed like his mechanics got a little out of whack, got a little wild with the fastball. And it's tough when you're falling behind. I'm sure there may have been some jitters or nerve mixed into that, just wants to prove to the LSU faithful that he's that guy on Sunday. And I would look for him to bounce back this weekend just because he's got really, really good stuff. And I still like him in that starting role. Look, could he close? I'm sure he could. But when his stuff's that good, fastball, slider, and he's got a changeup as well, I would rather see him out there for 5 or 6 innings, preferably, than opposed to 1. So I would just say hold on. I think he'll bounce back.
How about Christian Little through 2 outings?
Fabulous.
Yep.
I mean, I thought he's been phenomenal. The situation he got thrown into yesterday, right? Bases loaded, nobody out, gets a strikeout, gives up a single, but then gets out of that jam and limits the damage, and then slams the door on Southern, and the LSU offense just takes off. But in relief of Skeens as well, he worked fast, efficient, and he was pounding the strike zone. And his slider is devastating. As long as he's got that pitch for a strike, I think he can get out most lineups in the country just off of that slider. But it's been really encouraging because I didn't know where he was going to slot, right? I think a lot of people didn't know if he was going to be a starter or a bullpen guy. And to see him and kind of be a little bit of a fireman role early in the year, I've been really impressed by his outings so far.
Where do you think his role evolves? Do you think he's right where he is, or do you think there's something more?
That's a great question, man. I think he's great right where he is now, and let's see how that third starting spot shakes out, because he may be able to move into a Sunday role, but I could see them pushing him back because his slider is so good. He's got a low to mid-90s fastball as well, but that's a great back into the game guy as well. Look, if you're protecting a lead, you're coming to get 3 outs in the ninth. I think he's got the mentality and experience to do that as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how his role evolves as they get closer to conference play.
Thatcher Hurd got the start yesterday. What'd you see?
Kind of the same message to fans that I would say for Chase Shores. Relax, don't panic. It really mimics his last outing that I saw from him in the scrimmage. Just not great fastball command, and I'm sure he would be the first person to say that, right? Just missing early in the zone, not missing by a ton. And then his second and third inning against Southern, he got ahead in the count, but he just couldn't put those guys away. And that was very similar to his last outing in the scrimmages. He had to get an inning rolled over, which means he had kind of reached his pitch limit for that outing. And I think he was working through some control issues, but I still have a ton of confidence in him. Look, if you just go back and look at his stat line at UCLA before he got hurt, I mean, those are video game stats with a 1.06 ERA and 9 appearances and strikeout to walk ratio. So I think he'll get there. I think he's just kind of working through some control issues right now, specifically with his fastball.
Chatting with Chris Demouy, former Tiger left-hander, host of the 60 Feet 6 Inches LSU Baseball podcast. Let's move to the offense. Who's caught your eye?
Jared Jones.
Yep.
Look, I loved, in Tommy White's solo appearance, I love the fact that he hit the first ball at the middle for a line drive. Obviously, everybody knows what happened after that. I would say Gavin Dugas, too, because coming into the opening weekend, I was very high on Ben DePolt, and I still am. I know he's hitting some balls right at people, and stuff will fall for him. But Gavin Dugas, in that leadoff spot, he looks great, or you can drop him even down like they did yesterday, I think, to the 5-hole. Cruz is Cruz, but I wasn't worried about Trey Morgan, and he showed why yesterday. But to me, it's been Neal and Jones because they're freshmen, and you've seen them do it in scrimmages, and you want to know when the lights come on, playing guys with different jerseys on, can they still do it? And those guys have just kind of their steadiness. And if you look, both of them have taken a lot of walks, which is great to see, right? They're not just trying to hit everything out the park. They don't have a bunch of strikeout numbers. They have a fair amount of walks. So I think those two guys have really stood out, besides kind of the usuals.
What does the pitcher in you see with Brady Neal's defense? This is not an easy staff to catch.
Yeah, it's. I was trying to think about it last night after the game, and I can't remember anything that stood out in a bad way. So as a pitcher, to me, that's good, right? We all know what Milazzo brings to the table, but what does an 18-year-old freshman do when he's got to catch, Skeens and Hurd and Little and some of those Floyd with electric stuff? And I can't, unless I'm missing something, and maybe you can tell me. I just can't remember anything. A lot of stuff getting to the backstop or him not blocking balls up. We know he likes to throw down, right? He'll throw down and pick behind runners on failed bunt attempts and whatnot. But so far, I've been pleased. to me, I can't think of anything that's really stood out that it's been a red flag.
No, he made 2 great throws yesterday on the good side of things as well. So I've been impressed. I'm impressed that he and Jerry Jones have started every game, because I thought that there'd be some musical chairs going on with DH and then a catcher as well. So obviously the staff thinks a bunch of those 2 guys. All right, moving into the weekend, you got a chance to maybe step up a little bit in class here, certainly with the arm that LSU is going to see on Saturday. I'm really, really excited about that. Iowa's going to throw a guy at LSU who's going to be a first-round pick, and he's going to hit 100 on Saturday. So you're getting a pretty good barometer as to where this offense is, maybe a little bit better than you did against Western Michigan.
Yeah, I think it's almost, I'm sure they're, well, the good thing is, I would say, is that LSU's seen 100 because they got to face, Skeens and Shores throughout the fall. And I'm just starting to dig into the teams that they're going to face in Round Rock. But I saw a couple clips of him over the weekend, and that's going to be a great test, right? Riley Cooper, see if he can repeat what he did against Western Michigan, if he can do that again against Iowa. And then for these guys to go up against high-velocity arm like that. And it seems like everybody throws mid-90s now in college, but that's definitely a step up in competition. And a really kind of early season barometer to see what they're going to face during conference, So it'll be fun.
I'm very much looking forward to it. It's kind of a big picture question here, Chris. We've seen Jackson Wiggins at Arkansas go out, torn UCL out for the year. Grant Taylor at LSU, torn UCL out for the year. Hunter Elliott at Ole Miss is their ace. He's going to go and undergo some MRIs, and they're going to see what the future holds for him, but it doesn't sound awesome out of Oxford right now. What is there anything that we can do about this, or it just is what it is?
I don't know. Yeah, I've talked to some friends, and it's I don't know. That's a really good question, and I don't have the answer to it. I think, look, these kids are bigger, stronger, faster, and it's not the generic old guy, saying this, but they are, right? They throw harder. They're better than we were when we played, 25 years ago, and they throw harder sooner. So I don't know if that's putting more stress on their arm, more stress on their growth plates. They go to these perfect game showcases and all these travel competitions earlier, and they're really wrapped up in velocity, and that's going to get you drafted. So I don't know if that's putting undue stress on their arms, but it also feels like they have more information now to where this would be less preventable. So I don't know if it's the fact that we know about it sooner and we're more attuned to that due to all the information that's out there with social media and you hear about it sooner, or it's just it always has been happening. And I guess, I don't know. I can go round and round, but I don't know what to put my finger on it.
He's Chris Demouy, 60 feet, 6 inches LSU baseball podcast with us each and every Wednesday here at 2:30. Have a good one, man. We'll talk next week.
I appreciate it, Hunt. Thanks.
He is Chris Demouy. Always enjoy our conversations. It's just a bummer to see these guys. I mean, that's 3 of the most impact arms in the Southeastern Conference, all 3 on teams with Omaha aspirations and national championship aspirations. You lose a front-end starter at Arkansas, maybe the ace at Ole Miss, and then the huge piece in Grant Taylor here at LSU, and certainly happens other places as well. Just bummer news that keeps coming in waves. I appreciate Demouy for coming on and talking little Tigers. If you just jumping in, you didn't know what I was talking about with Iowa. Iowa's got a Saturday starter who plays wide receiver on their football team, which best I can tell means you put pads on and maybe take a shower after the game. I don't know that there's really anything else that you would do as a wide receiver at Iowa. But when he's not playing wide receiver at Iowa, he pitches and he throws 100. Like literally hit 100 over the weekend. His strikeout numbers are insane. And the stuff is first round good. So LSU will get a huge test in terms of the arm they will see on Saturday against Iowa. I can't tell you anything about Iowa outside of that, but I can tell you that guy has the goods. So we'll see how LSU responds to it coming up on Saturday. We'll come back and close things out. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit. We get it done with passion for our fans and love for our community. We are the Tigers.
Get it done. Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring. Wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville or NOLAFlooring.com.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Women who suffer from cardiac arrest outside of a hospital are less likely than men to receive life-saving CPR from bystanders. This is especially true for Black and Latino women. Be the one in your family to help change this statistic by taking the American Heart Association's challenge to learn CPR. Be the beat for someone you love. You can make a difference when it matters most. Go to heart.org today to take the CPR challenge and save lives.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial.
Join us for the Wednesday edition of Game Time. We're live at Mestizo Restaurant at Acadian and I-10, celebrating our 24-year anniversary. It's Game Time for Mestizo, Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Working toward the weekend here on a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Tomorrow we'll have Joe Healy from D1 Baseball talking some SEC baseball. We'll have Sharif Ishak on the Pels. He's had a lot of stuff going on the last 2 days. Of course, we'll recap LSU and Vanderbilt tonight. That game, 6 o'clock tip inside the PMAC. If you're looking to listen, you can catch it on our sister station, Eagle 98.1 at 5:30 this evening. It'll be Chris Blair and John Brady on the call as the Tigers try not to set the record for the longest conference losing streak in program history against the Doors. We shall see. Taylor Sharp, take it or leave it.
Yeah, let's knock it out. Hunt, you like promotions, like trying to get the fans involved?
Sure, let's get them involved.
All right, well, here's a unique one. In an effort to get fans more involved, Virginia Tech basketball partnered with Smithfield to send fans home with free bacon if the opposing team missed 2 consecutive free throws. Free bacon, take it or leave it.
I mean, you got to take it. Bacon is amazing.
I'll take it.
I love bacon. Gary Player, who's like a health nut, there's a reason he can like still play golf, and he's like 100 years old because he does 1 million sit-ups and push-ups every day, and he doesn't eat anything that's not very healthy. And so he says the worst thing you can eat is bacon. It's just fried fat. It's like, yeah, Gary, that's why it's awesome. I love bacon. Eat it on everything. Bacon mac and cheese, bacon on a grilled cheese, bacon on a burger, bacon anywhere. I love bacon. Free bacon for Miss Free Throws, I'm in.
Solid Gary Player impersonation.
I got the South African accent down, no question.
The latest bracketology was released, and it has the LSU women as a 2 seed in their region. LSU can make it to the Final Four. Take it or leave it.
Definitely take it.
I'll take it.
Kim talked about this over the weekend, said that because of their non-conference schedule and then the fact that they don't have any really marquee wins, that there's probably not going to be a 1 seed, even though UConn's kind of leaking oil a little bit. We'll talk about that in a second. But I would imagine there'll be a pretty strong 2, which would mean you're not going to be in South Carolina's bracket. And so if you don't have to see South Carolina until the final, like they can beat everybody else, I think. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm some sort of expert on women's basketball in the entire nation as a whole, but they're pretty good, and they got some players, and they got a great coach, and so yeah, I think they should be potentially a favorite to make the Final Four as long as South Carolina's not knocking on that door.
The bracket I looked at, Stanford was number 1 in their division.
Sure, we'll take them.
Novak Djokovic has asked the United States for entry into the country so that he can play in tennis tournaments. Take it or leave it.
Okay, so this is about the vaccine, which I didn't realize you still can't come in without a vaccine. We're still doing that? What year is it? It's 2023? You need a vaccine to come play tennis? I can't imagine anyone thinking that should be a regulation. That's ridiculous in my view. I think that's going to work. The tennis tournaments are openly supporting Novak coming in to play in their events, and that's the thing with tennis. Like, everyone watches, tennis fans are going to watch the Australian Open, Wimbledon, the French, and the U.S., but no one really pays any attention to the ancillary events, and they need guys like Novak Djokovic to show up, and so he ought to be able to show up without a vaccine. I mean, we got a little more information now than we did 3 years ago. Let's go ahead and lean into that, I would think.
All right, one last one. UConn's women's team lost to St. John's last night. This was the team's second conference loss. It marks the first time that UConn has lost multiple conference games in a single season in a decade.
Jeez.
The Big East should be ashamed. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. UConn's just way better than all of them. That's just the way it goes. Maybe somebody clips them here or there, but you're not getting them a second time. That's just the way it's gone. Gino's run a powerhouse over there, but that's a remarkable statistic. Say whatever you will about women's basketball, whether you love it, whether you don't want to watch it at all. It doesn't matter. You talk about a team in college athletics playing by the same rules as everybody else that didn't lose multiple conference games over a 10-year stretch. That is absolutely remarkable and should be commended. But obviously, they lost their top player this year. I think it's Beckers, and she had been back. So
yeah, Paige Beckers.
Not quite what they've had in the past, but that is a ridiculous run by Gino and his squad. So that'll do it here for Take It or Leave It on a Wednesday. Run through the show. We opened talking LSU and Southern from yesterday, kind of my takeaways. Thatcher Hurd, Christian Little. You had Jared Jones, Brady Neal, Trey Morgan. Lot to dive into about yesterday's midweek game out of the box. So I did that at the top of the show. Recap my gambling picks from SEC Hoops. 3-0 last night against the number. It is a flamethrower coming from my gambling picks. Absolutely remarkable, the run I'm on over the last 2 weeks. I gave you some picks in that segment for tonight's action. You might want to get on them and get rich. What If Wednesday at 1:30. That's what we've been doing each and every Wednesday. Just talked about a lot of different things, including how much it would take for me to watch a live golf event. We didn't quite get to the number, if you must be told. The Brandon Miller situation in Tuscaloosa, I kind of laid out everything that we know about that at the end of segment of hour number 1. Just a lot going on over there in Tuscaloosa. Just a tragic situation. Hour number 2, David Grubb jumped aboard to talk all things Alvin Kamara and the Pelicans. I previewed Vanderbilt and LSU tonight inside the PMAC, and Chris Demouy, former LSU Southpaw and podcaster, came in his weekly segment to talk a little bit of baseball before we played some Take It or Leave It. So if you missed any of that, you can always catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com. The on-demand tab, all the shows listed right there. All our sound is uploaded every single day right there at 1045ESPN.com. We're also wherever you get your podcasts. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, any of those places, you can find it. Just search The Hunt Palmer Show. We always appreciate likes, subscriptions. You can rate, review, all those things help us out a ton. Those of you hanging out on YouTube, we appreciate you. You can throw us a like from over there in the Bayou 4 chat. We'd appreciate that. And all our stuff's archived on YouTube each and every day. If you hit that subscription button right below the video, you'll get updated when we have a new upload, which is the shows, which are in their totality every day. And that Taylor does an awesome job of taking little segments, 10 minutes here and there, and posting them up on the YouTube channel. So appreciate him for doing that. Go ahead and check those out. All right. Should I go to the PMAC or not tonight? That's the question. We'll have to probably see what the boss at the house says. That's really what the reality of the situation is. I would like to go, but if dad duty calls and I got to run bath time, that's what you got to do sometimes. We'll have it figured out. But either way, we'll be talking about it on tomorrow's show. We'll be talking some baseball with Joe Healy, be talking some hoops, and very much looking forward to it. Hope everybody has a great Wednesday afternoon. Jimmy Ott's Game Time coming at you from 6 to 8 this evening. Matt Musso going to sit in the big chair for After Further Review coming up next. See y'all tomorrow, same time, same place. The Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.